by thanking the chairman. I've never gone anywhere in this state where they say the meeting is going to start at 1 o'clock or 1:30 and the people are ready by 12:30. I've never been to any place. This is the first time, but I'm not surprised.
Only cannot is.
Because now your son be governor. And your son is a punctual governor. He's a digital governor. He's a modern governor. So we cannot expect anything less. But the fact is, even my people, they don't reach here. Say everywhere is so calm. This is the only place I have been where youths even support Koda.
The only place.
Everywhere else they fight us. Say bring our own share. Una they contribute. Una well done.
Clap for the youth.
Clap for the youth, please. I don't come here before. I came in 2014. You must have heard what I said then in 2014. You remember, I talked about football team. And I said, your son is number 9 and I am number 10. If your son scores, we will all support him. Did I not say so?
Yes.
And your son scored and I supported him fully from day one. And that is why he appointed me his commissioner of finance for 4 years. They're not a good person when they're not trust for money. Your son gets sense where. So a big person when he trusts to manage the money for him. And when I do 4 years of that, he picked me again, make I be chief of staff for 2 years. So I have given him my full support since he became governor in 2015. Full support. This is an opportunity for me to ask you to thank him on my behalf. This is an opportunity. He appointed me, even though I ran against him in 2014, he appointed me. Throughout the time that I worked for him, he didn't treat me like a subordinate. He treated me like a friend, like a colleague. That is unusual in Nigeria. He also took care of me. I didn't have to look for money as a commissioner. When I would be sitting in my house, he would send one of the other sons, Raymond. He would send him to come and see me. Raymond would drop something for me. I would say, what is it for? He said, oh, God, I drop him for you. When I see him for office the next day, when we don't discuss everything, I say, okay, I remember there's somebody dropped something for me. What did he came for? He said, oh, I know you don't have money. I say, it's true, I don't have money. I say, that's for you. He didn't do it once. He didn't do it twice. He didn't do it 3 times.
A good man.
No, he's a good man. He's a good man. Anything you hear today is politics. He is my personal friend. And if you ask him, he will confirm it. We are friends. There's no enmity between us. None at all. You know, in the court of the king doesn't have enemies. It is the courtiers, the people who don't really know the history, the people who now mouth and wayo, they don't reach where they enter the court. And then go they say, that man the quarrel. A lie, we're not the quarrel at all. We have always been together and we will always be together. Forget anything to do with politics. He has done a wonderful job. Unless you are ungrateful, the Northeast has benefited a lot. But there's still more work to be done. There's still more work to be done. Yes, there's a lot of infrastructure. There's no doubt about that. But there are other things that are required. Number 1, industrialization. We need to create jobs for our people. By the grace of God, and Okowa too, if I take over, I will build upon everything that he has done. Not one thing will I tear down. I will in fact build upon them. And to add to it, I will focus on industrialization. And the reason why it's my priority is we need to create jobs. If we do not create jobs, we will continue to have problem of unemployment in our system. Power supply. Besides power supply, security is a major priority of the state. If you look at my pamphlet, it's all in there. I've also noticed that the Umunede Rest Park, despite the amount of effort that has been put on that project, it is not yet completed. I know there are some community problems. By the grace of God, I pray that it is completed before the end of this administration. But if it is not completed, I guarantee you it will be completed within the first year of my administration. The old Lagos-Asaba road, that road also needs, I think it needs 2 bridges on the side in order to reduce the traffic around there. So again, that is something I give my personal commitment to complete within the first 1 year. Youths. There are more youths in this country than most people understand. There are at least 75% of the population is made up of youths. 75%. That means 3 in every 4 people is a youth. When I say I'm doing answers now, when they come outside, all of us run enter. We run inside house. Now drive us enter house. We will not allow that to happen again.
Amen.
And one of the reasons is because we don't take enough of them into governance. And I think I joined government as a youth. I was 34. I worked with all the governors. Some of them were my colleagues. I ended up working with some of them and for some of them, including your son. And that's why I can stand here with the experience that I have. I want to do the same for the youth. But this time, not just one person. I want to bring many youths into government. That's why 25% of all political appointments under me will be reserved for youth. And the reason is simple. The youths are the leaders of tomorrow. If they are the leaders of tomorrow, you must equip them with the knowledge and experience to rule tomorrow. Women, oye! Women, oye! No woman,
no politics.
But on the other side, I like to no man, no politics. But the truth be say, now woman plenty pass for this our society. I hope you know.
I know.
There are more than 50% women in our society. The only person who has, that I know of, who has taken the plight of women very seriously is your son, Dr. Ifanyo Okowa.
Very correct.
Am I correct? Yeah. I told you that I want to improve upon what he has done. That is why I'm saying 35%, minimum 35% of all political appointments will be reserved for women. What it means is that if there are 25 commissioners, at least 9 will be women. 9 commissioners will be women. And we may even consider a woman for deputy governor. That has not happened before in this state. Why do I want to do that? I want to have a government that reflects the people that are being governed. Where Okowa they go?
Oh.
PDP!
Power to the people.
Power to the people!
PDP.
We need PDP, oh! It's, Chairman of the party, chairman of all chairmen, the leader of the house. I'm not going to talk too much today
because I don't think it's very necessary. I think Clement said it all. For 2014, I came and begged for your votes. I am doing the same again today. If you look at, you see, say myself, don't try small. I'm not pursuing the office of governor because I want big up for them. No, that not be the reason why I dey pursue the office. I dey pursue am because I believe I have done a lot in Delta State, but I have more to do in Delta State. The race not easy. We know say it's not easy. But somebody must do it. And whether we like it or not, my friend and brother, the current governor of Delta State, we were colleagues. We were colleagues in 1999 when I was invited to government by Chief James Onanife Igori. I was 34 years old when I became Commissioner of Finance. I was sitting with big men. All the big names when you be here now, they'll be my colleague that time, including the current governor. So he has been my friend and brother for over 21 years. It's very important because, you know, there's a saying sometimes, I don't know if you've heard it before, but there's a saying that the king in the palace, he doesn't have enemies. It is the people who are in the courtyard. Those are the ones that create enemies for the king. Anybody that tells you that there's any friction between me and somebody that I served as a colleague with for 8 years, I served him as Commissioner for Finance for 4 years, then I served him as Chief of Staff for 2 years. How many years did that? 6. He plenty, sha. He plenty. Anybody when can't tell you say I get problem with that person or that person get problem with me, well, I don't want to say Holy Ghost, but it's not true. That's the point I want to make. It is not true. Some of the things they say is Edevbie doesn't like people from Delta North. I mean, I know it's politics. And I know in politics you can say anything because it's politics. It's part of the game. But there are some lies that don't even make sense. There are some lies that don't make sense. As you can see, the people that are appointed in 1999 are still with me till today. And they are your sons. They are still here with me today. And there are many more across the state. The reason why I'm mentioning that is because I want it to be clear. I am a Deltan. I make no discrimination about where you come from in Delta as long as you are a Deltan. I want to be clear to the people of Ika South. I know some may be worried what will happen after 2023 when our son has left. Will the new person that come, will he discriminate against us? Will he, those are the sort of fears everyone has. I can assure you, if I am the one appointed as governor, your interest will be fully protected. They say the best way to know a man is to look at his antecedents. It's not what people tell you about him today. Let them tell you about his history. Then you can judge yourself. I think if you look at my history, it will confirm what I'm saying. I can talk about generality, but I'd rather talk about some specifics to do with Ika South itself. The first one is to do with the university, which has just been established. Abi? Yeah. The Delta University of Delta that has just been established. It has just been established. If anyone that has been to university or has worked around universities before will tell you that university is not a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year project. It's a project of decades, of many years to build it up to the standard that you can compare nationally and internationally. So whoever takes over from the current governor, he is in fact the person that actually will spend the most time and effort developing that university. Bringing it here is the first step, but actually growing the university is the most important step. And I undertake to grow that university. I will work with other institutions across the nation and internationally to bring collaboration with the university, and so that that university produces the type of graduates that will get jobs. We don't want a university producing graduates that join the unemployment queue. We don't want that. We want a university that will act in synergy with employment to create jobs. And that is why just creating a university is not enough. You must look at the other side. What happens to the students when they leave? And that is where I come in. Yes, a lot has been done in terms of infrastructure in this area, in the Ika nation in general. But one thing that I know is missing is lack of industry. And it is industry that creates jobs. One of the things I undertake to do is to bring industry to Ika nation. And that involves industrialization. It's in my manifesto, industrialization across the whole of Delta. But I can tell you off the top of my head that the Ika nation is more likely to benefit than many other parts of the state because you are very peaceful. You are very peaceful. You know, in other areas, sometimes when you say build a road here, the youth will go and stop them from building a road. You have to settle the youth. That type of thing doesn't happen here. It doesn't happen here. I know. Youth, oh yeah. It doesn't happen here. When projects are being constructed, in fact, people contribute land here for those projects. It is going to work to your advantage in 2023 when I become governor of Delta State. Because many industries want to come to Delta. They just want to see the right leader in Delta. They see what has happened in Anambra. You now have Professor Charles Soludo. They've seen what is happening in Edo, where you have Obaseki. Both Charles and Obaseki are my personal friends. So those are the time. If Anambra, their politics was very funny before. I used to throw up all sorts of people can decide that no, enough is enough. We want to have an intellectual as our governor. If the same happened in Edo State, I don't think it should be any different in Delta State. DC23 has cleared 3 of us. Abi? It's 3 of us now. I think if you use your church mind, look all 3. And imagine which of those 3 go fit sit down. If they ask, say, who of these 3 go fit sit down with Soduludo and Obaseki and have a discussion, I think you know who can sit down and match those people. I think you know. Not the person when go there, then when they reach the turn of Delta, they say, what's your opinion? And say, we are okay, Delta is fine. No. That's not what we want. And I know that that's not what you want. You want somebody that can represent you properly. There is the army. I was involved in that one, the 181 div. And it is because of the peace that you enjoy in Ika nation that project was put there. I think you should congratulate yourselves for that. That project, we need to fast track that project. And the reason why we need to fast track that project, there's a lot of kidnapping happening in this whole axis. So we need that battalion, the whole infrastructure, etc., to be upgraded as quickly as possible. We thank your son for attracting the project. That is His Excellency the Governor. We thank the CNS for attracting, again, your son for attracting the project here. We also thank your sons. I think Jim Obia too has been involved. I think the MD of Zenith too has been very much involved in that project. But the real work is going to start from 2023. If you appoint the wrong person, he will just leave it as it is in 2023 and go away and start focusing on his own area. Abi? That's what happens now. I am undertaking today that if I am sworn in as governor, I will fast track and complete the project. There are some roads. Well, before we get to the roads, I was driving here today, and there's one project. Again, I've been involved in it one way or another, trying to provide financing at some point, and then also talking to the private sector. That is the Umunede Rest Park. It's still not been completed from what I can see. And there's still a lot of trailers on that main high road. I undertake to complete that project. I know there are some community problems, but I know what is involved to complete that project if it is not completed by 2023. The same applies to the old Lagos-Asaba road. That's still a very important artery within your road network. And it's something I think it requires bridges on both sides of it. If we can put, just like what they're doing in Asaba now, if we can do it here, I think it will ease the pressure on that artery. So again, and these are things I'm undertaking to do upfront now that you can hold me responsible for. There's another road. It's called the Obi Road. I believe it's from the Danes Palace. You could know I'm not. You can pass there well. It's from the Danes Palace to Uromi Junction. Correct. I know that that project was awarded during our time, and it was put in the budget. I don't believe that road has been completed. It's still outstanding. It's a very important road. Again, I undertake to complete that road before the end of 2023 if I'm sworn in as governor. There's also the College Road, which is by the Uromi Junction there. That Uromi Junction is very, very critical. If you have ever gone to Abuja by road, it's a very critical junction. But there are not enough roads speeding up, third roads speeding off it. Those are all things that I would like to take a look at. We also know that there are some areas where there are erosion problems within Ika South. Again, those are things I would like to look into with the Ecological Fund to ensure that they are completed. So those are specifics that need to be done in your own local government, which I'm committing up front now to do. In general, I came here really for prayers, but there are two other things I'd like to mention. One, youth. Youth, people never understand saying our youth plenty pass for this our society. But they're supposed to don't understand after NSAS. Because we all see wetin happen for NSAS. They drive all of us enter house. So now only youths take over the whole area. 75% of the population of this country are youths. 75%. Under 40 years old are youths. We are one of the youngest countries in the world. One of the youngest with a mean age of about 17. But the youths are not properly reflected in governance. I'm not saying that there are no youths. There are some youths in governance, but I think there can be more. And the reason why I say so and why I have that in my heart is I was brought into governance as a youth. I was 34 years old when I was brought in. And that is why I can stand here and boast of all the experience that I have today. We cannot be saying the youths are the leaders of tomorrow. Meanwhile, we are not preparing them to lead tomorrow. I want to build on what your son has already done. Your son being the current governor, he has brought in so many people into governance. I want to bring even more youth into government. And that is why 25% of all political appointments in my administration, if God sees it fit, will be reserved for the youth. 25%. The same applies to women. We all know that there are more women, or we should know that there are more women in our society than men. We have plenty pastors of women. Even though we as men, we dey flex, we have plenty pastors. We know, say, for election day now, they vote. When they come out and block votes. But anytime when it comes to political appointments, we know they appoint enough women. Again, my brother, the current governor of the state, has done a lot to improve the lot of women. And he has brought in many women into government. I want to bring in more. I want to build on what he has done. That is why 35% of all political appointments will be reserved for women. Even if other people not clap, women are not supposed to clap. 35%. That means at least out of 25 commissioners, 9 will be women. 9 will be women. If it even pass that 9, and there's nothing that stops a woman from being deputy governor. There's nothing that stops a woman from being deputy governor. Those are 2 specific things that I would like to mention that I want to do in general. We all know there's not enough power supply. I want to build on our power supply. We all know that security is a problem. I want to improve our security infrastructure. All these things combined together, I think what essentially I'm saying is that I want to build on the legacy of your son. I want to build on the legacy of your son, of which I was part of for 6 years. I was part of building that legacy. So nobody can claim to know it more than me in terms of what has been done, what is outstanding, and what hasn't been done. I think I'm one of the people that is best placed to do so. Let me end by saying, and this is a thank you, Mr. Chairman. We said we were coming here for 11, and we got here, 11. We got here about 5 minutes to 11, and Mr. Chairman was here to receive me. I think that shows that this is a local government with one leadership. This is a local government where everybody is united, and it is a modern local government which keeps to time, which is an asset. Thank all of you for that. PDP! Power to the people! Power to the women! Power to the youth!